Hi everyone, Jasmine here, and today is our May 2023 blogging Q&A. Welcome everyone. For those of you who are new here, I do this every single month where I answer your blogging questions live and we have a good conversation about blogging from it. So thanks for joining. I'm happy to see you guys are all here. I see people are already asking questions, so I think that's awesome. Just a little bit about me. I've been blogging for about 12 years now. I have a blog that's that old. I have a second blog that I currently run. My first is Miss Millennium Magazine, and my second is Blogging Money Life, which is the YouTube channel you guys are watching on today. So the way I like to do this is I start by answering the questions that are in the chat first. I answer any questions that I've received from people who've submitted questions to me before or who have posted questions in our Facebook group, Bloggers Supporting Bloggers. And then if we have time, I like to have a topic. So just so you guys know, the topic that I want to talk about today is posting on social media and how I go about doing that in the easiest way possible. So let's jump right in. I want to start with the questions that have been posted in the chat first by other people, and then I'm going to go into the questions I posted that were submitted by people before. So I want to start with Globang Viana. Hi, Jess. How do you grow your followers? Great question. My question is, which followers are you talking about? Are we talking about social media followers? Are you talking about your website? Are you talking about email subscribers? Since you use the word followers, I'm going to guess with social media is what you're referring to. So the answer is it changes. It really depends depending on which social channel you're talking about. When you're looking at channels like Pinterest and Instagram, I think the way you grow followers is very similar compared to Twitter or Facebook or other social media channels. I think one of the first things you want to do is make sure you're consistently posting on those channels regularly if that's your goal to grow it. So if your goal is to grow your Facebook account, make sure you're posting at least once a day. Same thing for Instagram. Twitter, you want to post multiple times a day if you're trying to grow that account because it's just a faster frequency. Your life of a post dies faster there compared to other channels. And then when it comes to Instagram, same thing. Now, as far as the growth, I have my strategies that I like to use. The first, to make sure that you're engaging with people who are engaging with your content. So if someone likes something, if someone comments, make sure you're replying to them. If someone likes it, go through the people who are liking your posts, go follow them, go see the content that they're sharing, like and comment on their content as well. So that's a good strategy to follow when it comes to just growing in general for social media. But overall, I would say it really varies. There are tactics you can get into. I know for Instagram and Pinterest, for example, if you follow other people, there's a high likelihood that you're going to get people who follow you back, some of those followers. So that's a fast way to grow. But of course, it's not sustaining if you're not doing some of those other things that I talked about here. So that's something that you want to make sure that you're continuing to do if you want to grow your followers. I hope that answered your question. All right, we have some questions for Nina and then Eliza. So let's start with Nina here. So I have two questions, if that's okay. Of course, that's why I'm here to answer your questions. First, which is better to do keyword research, Google Analytics or Google Console? So for keyword research, I don't know how you would exactly do it on Google Analytics. But yeah, Google Search Console is definitely possible to do keyword research. But what I found about Google Console is they're showing you what you're ranking for already. So if your goal is to rank for keywords that you aren't ranking for, then I don't think either of these tools are the right ones that I would use for keyword research. Now, I have a couple that I use pretty regularly. The first one is I think they're both pretty affordable, but they do cost. The first one I like to use is Keywords Everywhere. And what's cool about this tool is it, let me see, I have a YouTube video that I created that tells you step by step everything that I do when it comes to using keywords everywhere when you're doing keyword research, and it's worked for me pretty well. Now, the great thing about keywords everywhere is it's a Chrome extension that you put on your computer, and you can buy credits. And I think you spend $10 and you get like 10,000 credits, and each of those 10,000 credits represent a different keyword that's going to show up in a search. Now you can do keyword research that way, which I like because all you do is search for terms. So I'm going to give you the summed up version of how I typically do this. And that is, let's say, for example, I want to write an article about tacos, right? So I'll go to Google and I search tacos, and keywords everywhere will show up on that sidebar and say, show me all the things that people are searching for related to tacos. I'll get like long-tailed keywords like, where are the best places to get tacos? How many tacos should you have for dinner? Taco recipes. It'll give me all these different keywords, and it'll also show me how competitive those keywords are and how many people are searching for those specific keywords. You want to make sure you're focusing on keywords that are not that competitive, but are getting a good enough amount of traffic so that you'll actually rank for it. So that's my strategy when it comes to doing keyword research. I'm going to post a link here to my YouTube video where I talk through in more in depth as far as like my strategy for keyword research. And it's using the keywords everywhere tool that I mentioned here in this call. Now, the second keyword research I like to do is using a platform called RankIQ. And for those of you who have been on my calls before, I feel like I can't have a single call without me talking about RankIQ. And the reason for that is because it has been huge. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about how much it has grown my traffic on my blogs, both my blogs, as far as like being able to get more organic traffic. And what's nice about RankIQ, I'm putting the link here so you guys can check that out. What's great about RankIQ is there's already a list that has been of keywords that will rank quickly on your site. All you got to do is go through and choose. The guy who created the website, he's awesome. He's also a blogger. He has the podcast called The Millionaire Blogger, and he created this platform. And he just searches for different keywords that you can rank quickly for. Now, what's great about RankIQ is if you have a smaller blog, you want to do something like they tell you how fast you'll be able to rank for a specific keyword. I usually focus on ultra fast, which is the fastest you can go. And I think you usually rank within 2 weeks if you get a keyword with ultra fast. And you pick the keyword, you run a report, and the report will tell you, make sure you include all of these additional keywords in the article that you write so that you rank ultra fast for that particular keyword. So I have done both when it comes to keyword research. And I think both of them work really well. Okay, great. I see you have keywords everywhere. Awesome. It's a great tool. That video should help you out that I shared in regard to keyword research. But yeah, I'm glad you're asking this question, Nina, because keyword research is probably the best thing you can do for your blog to get organic traffic. And it was hard for me to wrap my mind around that because I was taught early on in the olden days of blogging, like you want to choose a topic you're passionate about, you can come up with ideas on your own and brainstorm different things to write about. When the reality is you have to shift your whole thinking about that. It starts with keyword research. You shouldn't be writing an article if you don't know people are looking for the topic or if it's going to rank organically. So starting with keyword research, still stay within your niche, of course, but that's the best way to grow your traffic organically. So good question about keyword research. Nina had another question. My second question, what's the single best way to increase traffic to my website? I feel like I kind of answered this. Keyword research, like you're already thinking about these things. I will give you one warning though, because I was using RankIQ for about 3 or 4 months, and I would see a little spurt of traffic here, a little spurt of traffic there. And I was getting to a point where I'm like, when is this going to pay off, right? When I want to see quick growth on my website. And it wasn't until these last few months that I've actually seen a significant spike. Like, I mean, a couple of months ago, I was only getting between 4,000, 5,000 sessions on my website. And now I'm getting 11,000 sessions on my website a month. I mean, it just took off. And it's just because I've consistently been creating new content using RankIQ, pulling the right keywords and doing keyword research before every single article, and just focusing on pumping out content as much as I can, as quickly as I can, that's ranking well for SEO. So yeah, that is the single best way, I think. And something else I will say about traffic, because not all traffic is created equal. I get traffic from social media, I get traffic from my YouTube channel. If your goal is to get traffic to your website so that they purchase affiliates with the articles that you write, or buying a product that you're promoting on your website, I see more sales from both of those things from my organic traffic than I do social media, than I do YouTube, any of the other content or traffic that I'm getting. So not only does it increase traffic organically, but it increases the right traffic, the traffic that are looking for the answers that you're answering. They're asking the questions you're answering with your blog posts, and they're ready to spend some money, depending on the topics, of course. But it's great traffic. It's not only a fast way to get traffic, but it's also the best kind of traffic, in my opinion. Great questions, Nina. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with your blog, and which way you take it, just based on the questions that you're asking, because you're asking the right questions. I will say that. Okay, perfect. Now moving on to Eliza. How long does it take to get results for RankIQ? Like, how long will we get traffic? Man, y'all are beating me to the punch, because I feel like I'm like jumping in and answering these. It depends. It depends on the size of your blog. If you have a bigger blog and you're focusing on ultra fast keywords, or you're focusing on average or long ranking keywords, then if you can get there fairly quickly. But I think if you have a smaller blog and you're still trying to develop your traffic, staying focused on ultra fast only. Now, I know you can look at a keyword that's like, oh, that looks nice, but it's only very fast or fast. It's going to take you longer if you're focusing on those keywords. And I speak from experience when I say the same things, because I feel like the keywords that are more appealing are the ones that take a little bit longer to rank for, because they're more competitive. So if you stick to the ultra fast ones, make sure that you're pumping out as much content as you can on a weekly basis. Then you'll start to see that traffic. Now, I started using RankIQ late last year, but I wasn't using it consistently until, I want to say, earlier this year, so January. I started seeing a big impact on my site in March, where I started to see the jump. You know, it went from like being these little spikes to like a little jump. And it wasn't until April where it just like, it took off. So how many months is that, Jay? So three to 4 months of focusing on ultra fast keywords and staying consistent with writing content on my blog. Now, that also depends on how much content are you writing. I was at one point publishing 3 to 4 articles a week. And then that slowed down because I lost steam as far as like being able to pump out content that quickly. But that's also going to play a role into how long it will take to get traffic. So yeah, I say stay consistent, publish at least 1 article a week. If you can do more than that, the faster it's going to work out for you, and only focus on ultra fast keywords. I think that's going to get you there. How do you get in the right mindset when blogging without becoming frustrated from not seeing quick results? Oh, you know, Eliza, I can write a book on this topic alone, because I'd be lying to you if I said it was not a roller coaster. If I didn't say it's a roller coaster. Honestly, there's, you know, a few months ago, if I'm being perfectly honest, I was considering selling at least one of my blogs. And now I've completely taken that option off of the table, because I'm starting to see that upward spike. I think staying in the right mindset with blogging is making sure that you're paying attention to your numbers. I've been, discouraged like going through this process, but something that has kept me motivated is looking at those incremental changes. Now, I said that I did not see a whole lot of growth until just a month ago, even though I've been doing this since January as far as like trying to grow my smaller, newer blog. But what I did not mention is that every single month there's been growth. There's been, like a 5% growth or a 3% growth or a 10% growth. And it wasn't until these last few months where I'm starting to see 60% growth, 70% growth. And I'm talking month over month. So don't lose sight of those incremental upticks, because if you're doing the right things, you should see growth. And that's not to say that, some months things are going to be a little lower than what you were expecting, or you're not going to grow as quickly as you did the month before, because it does, change. But if you are seeing progress in the right direction, let that be something that encourages you. I like to go through my Excel sheets and look at my data and be like, well, at least my sessions have improved. Yes, my bounce rate has gotten worse, but that's something that has improved. So make sure you're paying attention to those smaller things, because that does make a difference. And then eventually you're going to get to a point where those little numbers become big numbers, and it could happen overnight. So just keep with it. Look at those data points, and just look for any anomalies too that you have when you are just going through that data, because that, to me, that's what helps, and seeing that progress that you make. Good question. Liza said, do you have Venmo or Cash App? I would like to Venmo you for all your help. Oh, that is so sweet. But no, don't even worry about that. I love doing these Q&A calls with you guys once a month. If you do want to support in some way, definitely look into my products that I sell. I have a Blogging Money Update newsletter where I send out weekly emails for different sponsored post opportunities, if that's one way that you want to bring in income with your blog. And then I also have a course called Blogging Money Formula, where I teach people how to get your blog in order, starting from the basic things that you need to do, whether that be putting a schedule together for your blog, getting all the right pages on your blog before you can start doing partnership deals and bringing in income with your blog that way. So that is the best way to support me. Read my content, and check out different products that I recommend on my blog. But I appreciate you for mentioning that. Okay, another question. Some of the articles on Rank IQ suggest near 4,000 words. I'm embarrassed to say, but it's taken me nearly 3 weeks to write one article. I have a full-time job. Let's see here. And it's hard to post multiple articles a week with those long blog posts. Any tips? All I can say is I feel you. Like, I haven't had a ton of those articles. I probably have like 3 or 4 where Rank IQ asked me to do a 5,000 word or even a 6,000 word article. And I would think it's not that bad, considering it's just like a list article where I'm listing out different types of this or different types of that. And it's painful. It's taken me 2 weeks to write some blog posts, but I also have some articles at Rank IQ where they're only asking for 800 words. So just make sure you have a nice balance between how you're going through that. I always have a nice list of different reports that I put in for Rank IQ. And I mix and match between an article that's super long and then some that are a little bit shorter to keep me from like burning out. So that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because they do recommend that sometimes. But don't think that that's the standard, or that all your articles have to be over 4,000 words or anything like that. Take your time. If you can afford it, I say look into hiring some help. I know I've had a couple of articles where I started writing it and I couldn't do it anymore, and I got someone to finish it off for me after I've outlined it and gave them some ideas as far as like what I wanted to say. And then I'll go back and review it again to make sure that it still fits in with what I wanted to say. But it's so much easier to edit content that's already been taking a first pass than it is like doing it from scratch. So that's an option for you. If you're looking for a freelance writer, a few great places to go is Fiverr.com. You can find people who are pretty affordable there. Where I typically go for help is Upwork. And I've had some writers, I have a few writers who help me out with things like that. Starting from one person I was paying 3 cents a word up to, I have someone who I pay 15 cents a word. It just depends on how good of quality do you want and how much editing do you want to do. So that's something to look into, especially if you're already bringing in some kind of income on your blog. It may be a good investment to save you from doing something you regret, like stop blogging in general. So good question. Good questions. Oh, yay. I said, OMG, that's awesome. About Rank IQ. Thanks for the encouragement. Yes, I'm glad to hear it. Nina says yes. So organic traffic is the best. It is. It's the best for so many reasons. So yes, definitely go after that organic traffic. You will not regret it. And Eliza says, thank you so much. You've been so encouraging. Sounds like we just need to keep going. Have you considered doing a Patreon? Maybe. No, honestly, I haven't considered doing that, but I'm glad you find that this is valuable. Maybe that's something that I'll look into. I definitely like talking about blogging, and I especially love talking about blogging with people who get it. I can tell just from the questions that you posted, Eliza and Nina, y'all are ahead of the game. Like, y'all know what y'all are doing. I think some of this is like, you do need that extra encouragement to push you that next step. And sometimes you just need to know, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, is this actually working for me? Like, I thought that this was going to take off and it didn't. And then I know there's those frustrating moments too, where something worked before and now it's not working anymore. And that's just blogging. And when you're working in a space like anything on the internet, change is inevitable. I know there's a lot of changes happening with Google. What am I saying? There are changes with Google, it seems like every 6 months. And depending on whatever your niche is on your blog, it's only a matter of time before you get affected. I know that happened to me. There was a 2020 update, 2021 Google update that completely destroyed my first blog. And I found out that other lifestyle bloggers were also affected by the same change. And that helped me as far as knowing, like, I'm not the only one, and seeing my traffic just tank. It's almost, I practically had to start completely over in regards to like getting organic traffic, but that's what happens. So if you have spaces where you can go and you can talk to other bloggers who are going through it too, I highly recommend spending some time there. I'm in a lot of different blogging Facebook groups, so I'm always like listening to what's happening, and I hear other people's grievances about different things changing. For example, I think the grievance of the week is Google Analytics 4. And if you haven't done that already, I highly recommend you going and do that sooner rather than later. Pretty much what it is universal Google Analytics, which is what most bloggers have on their site right now, has to be switched over to Google Analytics 4, because starting July 1st, you won't have any of that data anymore from Google Analytics Universal. So switch it now so that you have some data that you can work with. Otherwise, you're going to lose all that historic information that you had before. So definitely do that. But all that to say is, it's nice having these spaces for other bloggers so we can talk to each other, talk through some of the issues that we may be experiencing, and find different opportunities as well to continue to grow. Cool. You guys, if you have more questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. I will continue to monitor that. I have some questions that were sent to me ahead of time. I'm going to go ahead and start reading over those. And once I get through these questions, I'm going to move on to my topic of the day, which is how I do my social media. Okay. So first question. Does de-indexing underperforming posts have the same effect as deleting them for Google ranking purposes? So this was a good question, and I honestly had to ponder it a little bit. So I'm glad someone sent it to me a little earlier. Now, I want to make sure I define the difference between these two. De-indexing is pretty much telling Google, I don't want you to index this article. It exists on my website. Google sees that it exists, but it won't come up in search if someone searches for that particular topic. So that's one option versus deleting them. Now, deleting your article means no one can see it. Now, if it ranked on Google at one point, there's a high possibility that it's still going to show up in Google search and people will go to that link and then it will give them a 404 error. So they're going to get an error. They'll still end up on your website, which is good, but it's not a good experience. I don't know if you've ever clicked on a link and you went to a 404 error. It is not fun and it kind of discredits that whole website. At least for me, it does. Like, oh, I can't trust this content. How old is it? Is it why it's probably not relevant to anything that I want? So those are the two options. This person is asking about de-indexing versus deleting them for Google ranking purposes. Not recently, a few years ago, I deleted a bunch of content that was underperforming on my blog, Miss Millennium Magazine. And it was probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made. Not because I chose to delete it as opposed to de-index it, but because I did not do it the right way. If I had to choose between de-indexing and then or removing content for ranking purposes, I think the best option is to either one, improve the content in whatever way you can, or remove it and redirect it to something that's better for them, that's still relevant to the topic at hand. Now, the problem with de-indexing means that you're telling Google not to search this. So you're not going to get any organic traffic from that article, which sucks. That means you're going to see a drop in traffic if any of that content was getting organic traffic at all. When it comes to deleting it, that means that, it's not a good experience if people go to the site and get a 404 error. If it's not redirected, of course. If it's redirected, then I think that you're probably okay in that regard. But the thing is, like, they both have their cons if you go with de-indexing or deleting. But I would say best case scenario, update. If you can't update it, delete it and redirect. So make sure you do a permanent redirect for things like that. Okay, next question. Is it better to have one mega large post or several smaller posts supporting the cornerstone? So if you have a cornerstone article, so let me break it down. Cornerstone article, that is pretty much one of the top pillar articles for your website. So people typically have a few of these. It can range from 4 to 10, maybe even 20 articles that are, this is what my blog is all about. And what they typically look like, and I think the best case scenario is recipes, for example, recipes about blueberries. And in that article, you're going to list out probably 100 different recipes about blueberries, but you're not going to put it all in one long article, as they have mentioned here in mega large posts. You're going to link it to several smaller posts. So the title is going to be classic blueberry pie. Here's a link for them to go to that article about blueberry pie, blueberry milkshake, blueberry this, blueberry that, and just go down a huge list. And that is better for a cornerstone piece of content as opposed to having one article that has everything in it. And it's a couple of benefits for it this way, because having all those internal links on a post gives it more juice and makes it a better piece of content. It being long helps as far as like people sticking around if it's going to answer the questions that they have about a particular topic. And having your content that you create linked to a different post within your site also builds up that juice, that content juice. So this is something I didn't realize until fairly recently. You know how you have a domain authority on your website, which is pretty much the score that Google gives your site. Every single page on your website also has a domain authority. So starting with the home page, that has the highest score than any other page on your site. And then your category pages have a pretty powerful score, not as high as the home page, but pretty powerful. And then all your posts below those categories also have a score, but lower than the category pages. Now, when we're thinking about pillar content, I've heard that it's better to replace those category pages that you have with pillar posts. So let's say, for example, one of your categories is baking with blueberries, right? Instead of having a baking with blueberries category, you just create a page called baking with blueberries. And anytime that you create new content related to baking with blueberries, you just add it to that article. Now, I think there are some ways to automate this. If you create a page and just put the little widget on that page with all the new content in that category, yes. But I've seen it done where people write a little paragraph about what the article is about with the title and make it so that people can link to it. I think you get more SEO juice that way rather than having a widget. So I think to answer this question, it's better to have one mega large post or several smaller posts supporting a cornerstone. Both. Your cornerstone piece of content should be one massive post linking to a bunch of smaller posts for that particular topic. So I hope that answered that question. So that takes me to question 3 that was sent ahead of time, but I think we got some new ones in along the way. Eliza asks, how do you make the switch to Google Analytics 4? Man, it seems super convoluted and complex, but it's not. So a couple of things. If you are using some type of advertising platform, for example, I'm on Mediavine for one of my blogs. They usually have their own criteria that you need to follow so that they continue to keep your historical data, which is important for you to continue to get paid for your advertising. So whatever advertising platform you use, check in with them to see if they have any special things that you should do to get switched over to GA4. So that's the first thing. If you do not have a managed ad platform, I would say, then just follow the instructions that Google Analytics tells you. Now, you've probably already seen it. If you've logged into your Universal Analytics, you get that little pop-up saying, hey, you need to switch to GA4 before July 1st. Just click on that and follow the instructions. I have 2 blogs, and one of them is with Mediavine and one of them is not, is with Google AdSense. So I have done both of these things. The one for Mediavine was super easy. I pretty much had to click a button on the Mediavine dashboard and they took care of it for me. With Google Analytics, with my Blogging Money Life blog, I had to do it following those instructions, and it was still fairly easy. The numbers will be a little different on GA4, which I know has been a regular complaint from a lot of bloggers when it comes to the number of users you have. I don't know why this is, but don't think that you messed something up or did something incorrectly. It's just weird, and it's something we're gonna have to get used to, unfortunately. But that's my 2 cents. There's a couple of ways to do it. It depends on your advertising network. Do what they tell you to do. All right, so moving back up to my previous sent questions. Question number 3. How to effectively do keyword research to increase SEO, and what specific websites do you use? I think we covered this question already pretty in depth with the question we got earlier. So I like to use RankIQ. I like to use Keywords Everywhere. I shared my video on how I use Keywords Everywhere. If you're curious about how to do it with RankIQ, I do have an article about RankIQ. I don't have a video about RankIQ, but I do have a video comparing Semrush to RankIQ where I talk a little bit about the keyword research there. So yeah, that's something to check out on my YouTube channel. I didn't mention this before, but another place you can do keyword research is Semrush. And something that I've recently started incorporating is, one thing I don't like about RankIQ is that I have a list of keywords I can choose from. I can't say, well, I want to write about this topic. I want to do some research to see if this topic is good enough. You can't really do that on RankIQ. I mean, you can plug in keywords in RankIQ and they'll create a report for you, but it's risky because it will cost you one report. And we all know that depending on whatever plan you're on, you're paying for each of those reports. And I've done that a few times and I've gotten like an extra long, it'll tell me it takes extra long to rank. I'm like, oh God, I can't believe I just wasted a report on this. So something I have done is I use the keyword tool in Semrush to do some research. And if there's a keyword that says very easy to rank for in Semrush, if I put it in RankIQ, that equates to ultra fast. So I can still do keyword research to figure out, well, what keywords would I like to rank for in Semrush, and I can guarantee that I'm going to get a good report for it in RankIQ, so long as it's easy. If it's an easy keyword to rank for in Semrush, it will equate to ultra fast ranking in RankIQ. So hopefully that's a good tip that'll help you out. If you happen to have RankIQ in Semrush, it's another way to get more keywords that other people probably aren't using in RankIQ. It'll still create a report for you and give you a list of other keywords that you need to add to your article and let you write your article in RankIQ so you know that what score you're going to get. So that's something I figured out recently. Okay, move on to the next question. What would you identify as the #1 thing you did to increase your organic traffic? Man, this is a topic. I feel like this is just our topic today is SEO and keyword research. That's it. I think keyword research is the #1 thing you do to increase your organic traffic. Now, I think a lot of people will say search engine optimization, but that's so broad. I mean, you can talk about keyword research. You can talk about backlinking, doing guest posts on other people's websites, doing some on-page SEO things. I mean, there's so much you can do when it comes to search engine optimization. But if I wanted to really micro get it down to the most important #1 thing, and that is doing keyword research on the topic before I write it. So that would be my #1 thing. Question 5. What format has worked best for you? I'm trying to do a combination of the headings on WordPress and such, so I'm curious. I think this question is asking the format of your blog. So what I will say is choose a format that's good for advertisements. I've looked at some really nice WordPress themes that did not have space for you to put ads on the sides or doesn't have a sidebar or things like that. So keep advertisements in mind, and beauty, of course. And then depending on your niche, this may not be the case. For example, if you're a food blogger, forget what I'm about to say. But what I will say is if you can not be as picture heavy, it's good to have pictures on your site, on your website, of course. And it's another way to rank as long as you're putting your alt text on those images. But you don't want them to be too big because it can slow down your site dramatically. So keep pictures in mind when you're trying to put huge headers or things like that on your site that are regularly uploading very large images. If you can, make them a decent size that's not too big, I think that'll help you in the long run with your site. So as far as WordPress themes go, I am a huge fan of Restore 316. They have beautiful themes, but what I really like about them is that they stay up to date with any changes that may be happening with Google. So I know, for example, there was a big change that happened a few years ago where Google was moving away from the Genesis theme and moving towards Cadence theme. So anyone who bought a Genesis theme from Restore 316, they went and they made all of those themes Cadence and gave a discount to anyone who bought the ones before that were Genesis. So that's what I ended up doing. So I could update my theme that I had just purchased. It was annoying, but it's one of those things you can't avoid it if there are some big changes happening with Google. So I like that they stay up to date with things, and it makes it so that your site always runs quickly and it looks beautiful, and you just kind of go from there. So I'm going to share the link to Restore 316 if you want to check out their themes. If I can grab the dang link for it. Is it loading? Maybe. Here it is. Okay. Let me put the link in here for you guys. So that's my affiliate link if you want to check out Restore 316 themes. And another thing I like about them is that they will also install it on your site and include your colors and make some adjustments to it to customize it to whatever you want. I paid them for both of my sites when I needed to update my theme. So they make it a lot easier if you're not super tech savvy, which I am not. Despite all the years I spent on the internet, I do not pride myself in being a good coder or anything like that. So good. So Eliza asks, so would you recommend using keywords in RankIQ and Semrush? Nowadays, yes, I would say so. I think RankIQ is becoming something where a lot more people are picking up on this like little hidden gem that was just a small group of people who knew about it at one point, and now it's like it's blowing up. So any keywords that you're seeing in RankIQ, there's a ton of other bloggers who are also looking at them. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't use those keywords, because what I love about RankIQ is that if after a certain number of people run a report on a specific keyword, they will remove it from their database. So yeah, that's something to be mindful of. And you don't have to worry about things like being out of date by the time you decide to write an article for a keyword there. But for the purpose of what I'm doing, like I'm trying to make sure that I can do some research for keywords that are not just in the list. Yes, I would say Semrush and RankIQ work really well together. Now, I bet you can probably do something very similar with keywords everywhere in RankIQ. I just don't know, excuse me, I haven't tried doing keyword research with keywords everywhere, and I don't know what that number is, what score that word needs to be to get a good report in RankIQ. So if you're going to use a different tool other than Semrush, you have to figure that out on your own. I've learned and I've wasted quite a few reports on RankIQ figuring out what that was for Semrush. So yeah, if it's easy, which is that little green dot in Semrush for a keyword, then it's going to be ultra fast in RankIQ. So that's my tip to you. Hopefully it saves you some reports that you don't have to spend if you decide to use them both. But I'm sure there is an equivalent for any other keyword research tool as well when it comes to doing that keyword research. They both have their limits. I've mentioned this before with Semrush, something that I don't like. Oh, Eliza said, I'm so sorry, but are you just using both the keywords? Are you just using both the keywords for both? Yes. So I explain this better in my video where I talk about Semrush versus RankIQ. I usually only use keywords for RankIQ. I've only recently started using keywords in Semrush and RankIQ. So what I do is I do the keyword research in Semrush. I look for the ones that have an easy score as far as competition. And then I take that keyword, I plug it into RankIQ for it to run a report for me. And that's how I write my article with all the corresponding keywords for that particular word. So I hope that answered your question. Yes, I use RankIQ and Semrush. But one thing I will say about Semrush is I don't use it just for keyword research. I use Semrush for like everything. Semrush has a plugin that I put in WordPress where it analyzes my article to make sure that I am doing well as far as being able to rank for a particular keyword, whether that comes from Semrush or RankIQ. I like to do a site audit on Semrush to make sure that I don't have any broken links or missing alt tags or anything like that on my site. So that's something else I'm using Semrush for. And then I'm also looking at Semrush to see what content should I be focused on optimizing. Semrush will tell me that, like, here are your top articles. Here are articles that you can improve. And if you improve these articles, then you can grow your traffic by, these thousands of pieces of traffic organically. So they have different purposes. Yes, there are some ways where they kind of like overlap each other, and I think they can complement each other depending on how you decide to use it. But I see the value in using both. Cool. Sorry if I convoluted the answer to that question. But yeah, I love both those tools. I use them more than any other tools that I own. I think I got through all of my questions that were sent earlier. Yes, I did. Cool. If you guys have more questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. I'm going to move over to the section where I talk about my topic for today. So my topic for today is social media. Now, start with a super caveat here. When I first started blogging, I was told that, social media is a new big thing. You want to make sure that you're focused on social because that's going to take over with organic traffic. And organic traffic is going to be so saturated that you don't know what to do with it and you can't compete anymore. So I spent a great deal of time understanding each social media platform and, making sure I jump on the bandwagon for any new social media platform that came out. Now, that is still true today. I think the social media choice now is TikTok. And then I know there's been some other ones that have come out, like Lemonade and some other platforms that are trying to replace Facebook, that are trying to replace TikTok because of all the political implications with those platforms. So you're going to jump on the bandwagon. It's a great way to build up a lot of traffic and followers quickly if you jump on something early. So that's the first thing I would say about social media. But something I have learned along the way is that organic traffic was never going to go away. Organic traffic is still something that if you started tomorrow or if you started today, you can still rank for keywords. It's just a matter of doing the proper keyword research and finding the right keywords for you. So that is always going to be something that should be a priority for your blog. Now, that being said, when I made the decision to focus on organic traffic and affiliates, I had to make some sacrifices. That meant that I could not be everywhere all the time. And the big sacrifice that I decided to make was social media. If you go to any of my Instagram accounts for either of my blogs, I have not posted in literal months on those platforms. And honestly, I am not mad at it. And what it came down to is I was making more money from focusing on organic traffic through advertising, through affiliates, through sponsored partnerships. So while social media is important, I think it's important to make sure that you are continually posting on those platforms. Make sure that you're paying attention to where your attention is going and where the money is coming in. If you find that you're spending a ton of money or time on one part of your blog that is not resulting in something, and something else is just doing a lot better with a lot less effort, put more of your time and effort there. Now, I say that, but social is still very important. Now, I want to share my screen with you guys to just show you what I do. Now, the platform that I like to use when it comes to social media sharing is called Social Bee. I love this platform because what it does is it allows you to link all your social media accounts, similar to Hootsuite or Buffer or any other social media platform, but you can do it for all of them. And what's great about it is once you create a social media post, you have the ability to reuse that content. So if you create an awesome Facebook post for a piece of content you wrote a year ago, and you want to make sure that that content is continually being shared on a rotation, Social Bee would do that for you. Now, when I first got into blogging, I wanted a tool like this. The only tool that was available was a platform called Meet Edgar. And it was so cute, and it had a great user experience, but it was expensive. It was so expensive. So when I found out about Social Bee, it was a fraction of the cost of what I was paying for Meet Edgar. It's not as popular as some other social media platforms are, but it does everything. And something that I love about Social Bee is that you have options to do a lot of different things. So not only do they have a number of different plans, depending on how many social media profiles you have, how many workspaces you want to have, but they also have concierge services. So if you wanted someone to like post on social media for you or write articles for you, or just manage different Instagram communities and things, you can sign up for those things. Now, I don't do that, but I love the convenience of that. I like that they provide something like that for their customers. Now, I'm going to give you guys a view into what my social bee account looks like, because I've used it for a number of years, and I'm pretty sure it's the platform I'm going to stick with forever, because it solves all of my needs. So let me share my other screen with y'all. All right, so when you first log into Social Bee, this is what it looks like. It starts with your social media profile. So I have most of my profile set up here. I was using a different platform for Instagram for a while, and I recently made the decision to start posting on Instagram using this one as well. But you can see here, you can post on YouTube, TikTok, Google My Business, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, IG, or LinkedIn. So you have all of those there. And when you go to your dashboard, it allows you to see everything all at once. So I'm just going to wait for that to load here. Whenever it loads. Any day now. Looks like it's not even loading. It's weird. All right, I'm just going to go to the content section, because honestly, this is where I spend most of my time. Okay, so when it comes to the content, you have the ability to categorize your content. Now, you can do this by your categories that you have on your site. So I did that. I have my categories on my blog: how to monetize your blog, how to start a blog, life, travel, money-making mindset. And anytime I write a new article for any of these topics, I go into the corresponding category and I make sure that I add a social media posts in for that particular topic. So these are my posts that have been created for this. So I'm just going to choose one for us to look at here. So this is one: 16 tips to make sure your New Year workouts are effective. And what you can do here, this is for Pinterest, and I choose which board on Pinterest I want this to go to. I put the link to the original piece of content. This was a video. Oh, this is supposed to be a video, supposed to be an article, but you have that there, and then you put in your description. You add your Pinterest image, which is here. Great. But I also want to share this in my Facebook group. So I have a different post here for my Facebook group that's added as well. And then I have my Facebook page. And then I have an example of each of these posts on the right side here. Now, show me the example for my Facebook group. But if I wanted to change it to my Facebook page, it will show me. Now, there's something going on with this where my picture isn't showing. So sometimes you have to adjust to make sure that the link works and pulls up an image. But it's nice. I'm doing all my social media posts for this article in one place. And then let's say that this is a good caption. I've used it for all of these. If I wanted to add a variation to that, like have a different caption, I just click add variation. And now it just duplicated all these posts. And I can change this now so that my phrase is different. Or if I wanted to change the images that are being used for this post. So that's something else that I can do. So that's nice. And it's good having variations, because if you're going to be rotating this on a regular basis, then, the more variations you have, the less likely your audience is going to get tired of it, especially depending on how much content you have. So there's that. And then when it comes to posting, you can say, I want to post this at a very specific time. Like I want this to go out tomorrow or next week. Or you can say that I want this to just be in this rotation, be on queue. So if it's on queue, you just leave this little section alone. It has a category, which was living abroad, which, let me see here. Yeah. Requeue after posting, meaning I want this piece of content to be recycled after it posts once. Or if you don't want it to do that, you can expire it after a certain time. So after it's been published 5 times, I don't want this to be shown anymore. or at a specific date. That's something else that you can do. So that's how you share a piece of content here. But the other thing that makes this pretty cool is, because I didn't put in any dates or rotation or anything like that. So if I go to schedule setup, this is my just forever calendar. So you saw that category I was in, which was living abroad. Every Friday, I post a piece of content for the living abroad category on Facebook and on Twitter. And then I also do something for living abroad on Pinterest later that day. And you can do this for whatever categories that you have. So yeah, the other thing that's cool about this is it doesn't have to be just your category. So I have a more than one workspace for mine. So that's my Blogging Money Life I just showed you. I'm going to show you my Miss Millennium Magazine blog now on this side. So I have more social channels for Miss Mill. It's just been around for a while. And something that I do for Miss Millennium is not only do I have my categories, but I also have seasonal content pieces. So for example, I have a category for Halloween. And this is where if I've written any Halloween content over the years, it all gets added to this category. So all my Halloween articles are here in this category. And then when I know Halloween season is coming up, I'm going to go and add in all my Halloween articles here. And then once the Halloween season is over, then I'm going to remove Halloween here and probably add in Thanksgiving topics. So that's something else cool that you can do with Social Bee that I love. And then you can also see your analytics. Now, the benefits of having, let me see here. Let me go to my other one. The benefits of having all of your social media channels in one place is that it allows you to manage how your, for this type of social profile, that's interesting, how all your social channels are doing. So I can see for all the different posts, how many views they're actually getting. Are there categories that are getting more traffic than others? What's the best time that they're actually going up? Let's see here. Insights. And it's exactly social profile. I don't know. Oh, it's because it's in Pinterest. Let's try for Facebook. There we go. So for Facebook, I can see how my growth is doing, how many men or women are in there, where they're located. And of course, it's pulling this data based on what data Facebook can provide to Social Bee, which is why it couldn't provide anything for Pinterest, because I guess they don't have great data. But I bet Instagram would have good data, although I've only recently added my Instagram stuff. So yeah, another cool feature. Honestly, that's all I really use here. But just to show you guys what all there is, I think this is where you have the ability to manage people who are talking to you on your social channels. So you can actually reply to comments and things like that. I haven't set it up and done anything with it. This gives you an idea of as far as what posts are coming up next, just so you have a view of what's going out. And should I update it? Does it need to be changed before it actually gets published? So this is one place where you can look at this content, and you can change it too based on which profiles you want to focus on. So that's what I look at. So yeah, that's Social Bee. It's a great place to, when you're publishing content, just get your content added into Social Bee, and then that's it. You don't have to worry about this again, like ever. You don't ever have to go back and update social media for this particular blog post. One more thing that I like to do for Social Bee, which I think is pretty cool, when it comes to having content that already exists, is I have a category for launches. I have this for affiliate launches, but let's see here. I'll tell you. So Blogging Money Formula promotion is one. Whenever I launch my Blogging Money Formula course, I have social media posts about that. I have a challenge that I do in a Facebook group, so I'll share that. So yeah, just different Genius Bloggers Toolkit. This is an affiliate that I do pretty often. So yeah, any social media posts that you know that are going to go up regularly, so you don't have to keep scheduling them over and over again. This is another way you can use this. So that's that. That is social B, and honestly, that's all I've been doing for social media. So yeah, just make sure that you're being mindful of how you're spending your time. If you don't have time to post on social media every day, that's okay. Find a tool that works for you so you can automate it. And yeah, just keep doing what brings in the most traffic and income for your blog. So thank you guys for coming by and asking all of your great questions. I appreciate you all. And I will see you next month on the last Wednesday of June. So I'll see y'all then. Bye.